ready to begin writing, all you need to do in this step is think of the ending. Once you have thought of an ending, you need to ask yourself this deep and probing question. If my hairdresser was reading this in a public place, is there any possibility, no matter how remote, that my hairdresser would be seen to cry in public? If the answer is no, you have not written the ending to a Maggie Stiefvater novel. Rinse and repeat. Step 4. Start writing. Remember, writing is a marathon, not a sprint. Have on hand lots of tea and cookie dough. Step 5. Has someone died yet? Someone should have died. If it's a chapter followed by a number, someone should have died. I suppose it is possible to write a Maggie Stiefvater novel without someone dying, but it's hard to imagine. I think maybe if you replace the death with maiming, I don't know, I'd have to see it in context. The thing is with a Maggie Stiefvater novel is the important part is that for every body that you leave strewn and cast along the wayside, you must give the reader an equally lovely and beautiful scene that they can keep in their pocket or their cheek pouches for later. Because it's all about balance and the circle of life and horror, beauty. Moving on. Step 6. I changed my mind. This is my favorite step. It's time to put food in it. No Maggie novel is complete without long and loving descriptions of food, which will eventually leave both the reader and the author craving carbs. One of my deep and abiding pleasures as a reader is reading about foods, and one of my even deeper and abiding pleasures is reading about foods that don't exist. I deeply remember the memory of reading A Tale of Time City by Diana Wynne Jones, and in it she describes 42nd century butter pies. They sound amazing. They're completely not real. As a reader, I remember this sense of betrayal, but then also, I could never have a bad butter pie. I mean, they're preserved perfectly in my memory, these perfect butter pies. And so I thought, I would like to join that legion of fine authors that have invented foods that readers will never have. And I thought, well, the Scorpio Races has a perfect entrance for that because it's all based around these races. It's a small island. They have nothing better to do. So every November around the races, they have this festival because they have loads of folklore associated with the races. And I thought this would be a perfect moment to insert a seasonal food, only available on the island at this festival in this book. And so I was fine. I wrote November cakes, a lovely warm concoction with butter and honey oozing off of it and icing, and they're licking their hands. I'm thinking, this is good. My place of fame is assured. Unfortunately, I completely underestimated how obsessed I was with this novel and how everything in it I had to touch in some way and try out. And so I found myself in the kitchen trying to make November cakes, and I am really disappointed to report that they worked out perfectly. And so there are photos and a recipe on my blog. They're not fake. I'm just moving on. I'm so disappointed in myself. Try again on the next one. Okay, step 7. You're over halfway at this point, but I would not be surprised if you were not a little bit discouraged. This is not surprising. When writing a Maggie novel, you frequently become so involved in writing that you forget that you must read to feed that deep artistic soul that you have. I have a few recommendations. My favorites. The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger, because if any book out there was designed specifically to make readers walk around the street crying like their puppy has just died, that's the book. And you will love every minute. And then Anansi Boys by Neil Gaiman, because it's kind of the same thing, but instead of crying over your puppy, insert laughing. And then anything by Diana Wynne Jones, because I said so. Step 7. Okay, this is music. You're still stuck. This is because you have to buy loads of music to write a Maggie Stiefvater novel. It's hard to imagine a Maggie novel where the main character is not a musician, or one of the side characters is a musician, or there's lots of descriptions of music, or at least where you haven't spent an extremely large amount of money buying music while writing. You guys may have been able to figure out by looking at me that I don't focus very well. I'm not sure if you're getting that vibe off of me. I'm not very organized. I don't focus. And so when I'm writing, frequently all I can think about is how I could be walking my dogs or trying to make November cakes or doing the laundry. Okay, I never think about doing the laundry. Making cookie dough or eating cookie dough or eating more cookie dough. And so if I have music on, I can focus. And so I have to construct these intricate playlists that keep me in the mood of the book. And so I have all these alt rock playlists for the Shiver trilogy, and they're online. And then